Hey, good morning. We're going to do this backyard covered with snow this morning. All right, we're going to start in the sky with a little mix of ultramarine blue and phthalo blue. Just bring it all the way down around the houses. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to paint the houses in gray, and I think it's a good idea for you to do it as well. And what I want you to see, well, the reason I'm doing this, because I want you to see the big shape here. You know, we're going to end up painting these buildings yellow and blue and whatever. But I want you to see the big shape, and you'll see what I mean here. So we're going to paint everything that's in shadow with a gray, very light gray. It's just a mix of blue and a little touch of raw sienna will give you a nice gray. All right, I added a little more phthalo blue to it. These are the fences, the fence in the front of the yard. They have a shadow on it, and so I added some, I used some of the sky blue there, and I'm just going to drop a little rose onto that to give it a violet shadow. It's a little bit darker and warmer, and we'll pull it in the front. So you can see that nice big shadow and connected. They're all connected in the back. This is another mixture of ultramarine and phthalo blue. This is the big snow mound in the front. There's a couple of specks of light coming through the tree. All right, so this is that big shadow. You want to make that nice and rich in the front there. Just pull that all together. Soften the edges. Keep them nice and wet and soft. Fade them out. All right, there's a nice shadow there coming off the fence, and I'm actually going to paint the fence with that light blue color. That's all in the shade. So I'm going to pull that all together as one shape. Okay. There's a little rise in the snow. You may not even need this, so you know I'm kind of sorry I put it in. You could leave that whole yard with a nice snow, but if you put it in, just keep the edges nice and soft. So I think that big shape, the shape would look better as a nice big white shape. Doesn't need to be broken up there. Don't need that rise. Okay. But I did it, so it's done. All right, a little shadow. This is the snow in the shadow on the roofs. Same thing, just a ultramarine. I think I'd lean more towards the ultramarine. You can put a little bit of phthalo blue in it, but I would put it in after you paint them. While they're still wet with ultramarine, you can drop a little bit of phthalo blue into it. So I just put it in, and I'm bringing it down with basically, almost clear water just to keep it nice and soft. There's a roof back there. A little bit of snow. Okay, there's a nice barn-like structure. Snow on the roof. All right, the barn itself is a beautiful blue. So this is just, I actually used cobalt blue with a touch of raw sienna. It makes it a grayish blue, so it gave it a nice darker blue back there. Take your time with it, Right, on these buildings, I used a mix of raw sienna and Iridian yellow, and there was some blue on my palette that I mixed into it, so don't make it, just to dull it down a little bit. And what I did was painting around that fence. You can see in the photo there's some really bright yellow where the snow is reflecting up under those eaves. So I added a little pinch of the gouache, you know, the white gouache, so that it stayed a little brighter back there. All right, these are just the buildings in the back. They're also yellow. So you want to pull it all together so you can see that shape. This is a very dry, this is the evergreen in the front, very dry ultramarine. I used gold, okay, ultramarine mixed with quin gold will give you a very dark green, and I put a drop of a rose in there as well to bring it down. Very dry brush will give you the nice sky holes in the tree. You don't want that tree too, you know, it's a dark tree, so you don't want a big black block there. So you want to leave plenty of sky holes. Keep it nice and loose. All right. I added a little quin sienna to it to warm up the trunk. And it's coming down to the snow bank, going in behind that snow bank. And then we have a lot of branches. I'm just using that same color. A lot of branches going through almost every sky hole that you make. You could put a little branch going through it. You know, keep them different sizes if you can. Don't keep everything the same. Keep it nice and loose and juicy. I just pop it in the windows. One on the side. Two or three windows in the back on that. This is the house in the back. And then the blue barn has a nice window in it too. So that's nice. They balance out there. There's a chimney there. I took that same dark color, just added a little red to it. This is the window color. I just popped in a little red to make it warmer. We got a few chimneys. Yeah, it's coming along. It's a nice scene. A little bit darker. It just came out a little too light, so I mixed up a violet, and I'm just painting that violet in. Put a couple of vertical strokes in there. It keeps it nice in front of everything, you know. All right, this is there's a tree, there's a couple of trees in this, but I'm going to leave the one on the right out. I don't want this painting to be all about trees, but this is the big tree in the center. And it's just ultramarine mixed with a little bit of quin sienna. And I think I put a little rose in it. Raw sienna and rose. So it's a gray with a little rose in it. And what I'm doing right now is just putting in the main trunks of the tree. Getting the character of the tree, the gesture of the tree. And then I'll go back with a smaller brush and a lighter value and do more of the branches. These are the main trunks. I noticed that I forgot there's a tree behind that initial building. It's really a garage. So I forgot that. So I'm putting that in now. And that's nice. It gives you a backdrop to the building there. So doing another layer on the fence, it just doesn't seem dark enough. And I'm adding some phthalo blue at the base of it for the shadow on the snow. And the same thing here. It felt like it was too light, dried too light, so I wanted this front snowbank to be darker. So I'm going back, and this is a mixture of ultramarine, and that's ultramarine with phthalo blue, excuse me. All right, I drop in a few of these. It's a good idea when you have a tree and you have a lot of branches like that, just to do a little at a time, go back and do another part of the painting, go, you know what I mean, go back and forth. All right, I didn't mention this before. I put in this bush. You'll see in the photo there's a bush there, and I put it in, but I really don't like it, so I'm taking it out now. You can see I use this method where I put a credit card against the edge that I want to keep clean, and then go in with a clear, with actually an old toothbrush I have, with some clear water. Make sure it's nice and clean. You want to get that. You want to get that color out of there totally. So make sure that your brush is nice with clean, clear water. Okay, that's all. Scrub it out. Take a towel, clean it up. There you go. You got it out of there. All right, I moved in the photo, the mailbox is under the tree. And I think that moving it to the right side makes it more balanced and gives you a little more symmetry, and it just looks better against this fence by itself than it did over in the other side. Okay, so that's the mailbox. Now we'll add the post that it's on. It's going down behind the bank. The snow bank. All right. There you go. All right, I'm putting a few small branches and twigs and so forth underneath the tree here, just to break up that space and join it with that shape down there. So gray, warm gray branches and coming in the back, and then you have the darker ones in the front. It gives the tree more a sense of depth, that has more form to it. And I'm dropping a little bit of cadmium red light on the tree itself. And as I've said many times, once you put the red down, it looks a little startling, like it doesn't belong. But if you loosen it up and let it sort of melts right into the color, and it warms it up nicely, gives it a nice warm feel to it. And you can see how that it really made it pop, and it gave this whole composition a little more contrast and a little more excitement by having that warm color there. All right. So I'm leaving that tree. There was a tree on the right there. I'm leaving that out altogether. You can see in the photo, strengthening some of those branches. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this painting. Landscapes are wonderful. Have a bunch of buildings and so forth. Really, a lot of fun to do. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed that. Stay safe out there. Please subscribe if you have not. I appreciate it, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you.